ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time for the NCAA baseball. It's that time. 3 men in a box. Shout out to Quentin Mills on assignment. Get some rest, brother. You are missed. Headliner, can the VOLS repeat? I think Nick will have a lot to say about that, of course. As well as Mr. Matt Grissom. So first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download that app. It is free. Viva Tequila Seltzer, 6 flavors, 2 new flavors, lemon, and the East Coast is cuckoo for coconut. And last but never least, Terry Smith, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Go follow him on Facebook while you're there. Head on over to atlantasteaksandseafood.com. Place an order today. Use the promo code SHRIMP. Get a 2-pound bag of the 1620s, the big boys, for the Super Bowl. Maybe some shrimp cocktails, some surf and turf, some baked shrimp. However you want to cook it, Terry will take good care of you, I promise. So without further ado, let's bring in the stars of this show, Mr. Matt Grissom and Mr. Nick Cathcart. What's up, boys?
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Happy Friday.
Last
day of January.
It is tomorrow, February 1st. 2 weeks from today, we'll be talking live college baseball. So what we want to do this week is want you guys to be loud and proud and start talking about your 2025 preview guide that came out last week. And then we'll get into some teams near and dear to your heart, Nick, the Vols, and of course, Matt, Arkansas. Nick, give us just a little flavor of that. I call it a guide preview. You guys worked your asses off and is absolutely amazing. The only downfall that I have is I didn't get the signed autograph one that I assume's in the mail.
Yeah, that's coming. I think it just blame the weather or something. But no, it turned out great. I mean, Matt gets most of the credit. He deals with a lot of kind of like the inside features and the graphics and what makes it look so great. All I had to do was do my research, a lot of writing, kind of that background. But I absolutely love the one this year. Kind of added in all the transfer stuff from 6-4 Analytics, makes it look great. Golden Spikes odds are in there, which we've had multiple people comment about. And then I'll get like texts randomly about a team where like I wrote something up and they're like, wait, why do you think this? Like, or I don't see this coming. So it's been like really, and it's only been out for a week. So it's been really great so far to kind of hear the feedback. I haven't heard a negative thing really outside of, like I said, what I wrote about a couple of teams, but I absolutely love it. And I think it's great for anybody who is, even if you're not like into college baseball before and looking to get into it this year, it's something just great background. You can download it and have it for the entire season in case you see there's a huge game on or something. You can go kind of look at which players I need to pay attention to, which pitchers throwing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
we've been together now. This is the start of our third year. I like to say this. I've been with you guys since diapers, since infancy, and we're loud and proud as, we'll be talking about Omaha before you know it. But Matt, take a bow, talk about the guide, the preview, the steps where you were year one to where you've already blossomed and where you are today.
Yeah, the only negative is a lot of people don't like that we didn't talk about their team. And believe me, if we could fit all 305 Division I teams in there, we would. We continue to add more as a couple of the outsiders teams to know outside the top 25. But yeah, this was something I started doing. I guess this is my fourth or fifth year of doing it. And initially I did it just for myself because I had all of these outlets to get information, but I didn't have it all in one central location. So all of my preseason research, I was going back and forth to D1, listening to 11.7. The great thing about college baseball is we're such a small niche that literally there's a group chat with all the people that cover college baseball, from Ben Upton with 11.7, Noah Beanick with Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's just really cool. We're all trying to grow this and do our own thing. But always bounce ideas off of each other. So the opportunity to be able to put a guide like this out there for the casual fan who doesn't know all the details yet. And I mean, Nick, Q, and I, we don't know all the details yet. Every single season now with the transfer portal, you're basically getting a whole roster refresh. And you look at the guide, you look at the preseason guide last year. I think Tennessee started preseason 8. Their pitching staff, I think, was a B- on the grading scale. They ended up having one of the best pitching staffs in the country. So it's cool to see how, we may be right on some things, wrong on some things, but at the end of the day, it's all about trying to get all the information you can heading into the season. And then you watch these odds already start flip-flopping because it's such a volatile market. I know this is a long-winded response, but we've already seen it. I think Virginia opened plus 2,300, and circa Jeff over there, he just hung, I think it was Virginia plus 1,000. So you're talking about a lot of volatility already in a market. So all I can say is just shop lines, because there's a lot of numbers out there that are not conclusive to just one specific book.
Shout out to Richard Poplis. Great show again. Go Huskies. Yeah, Richard, the Huskies go to Marquette tomorrow. Then they get St. John's at home. Then they go to Creighton. So hopefully Life Without Liam McNeely starts tomorrow in Marquette. Sean Alvarez, good morning, gentlemen. And Sean wants to know, where's my write-up for UNLV Rebels? And that big move on Virginia, I mean, let's be honest, it's Quentin Mills moving numbers here. I mean, other than Florida, we know he's dropping bags on that Virginia team. And as I said to Nick backstage, Matt, before you came on, I have learned so much. We go back 3 years ago to the Wake Forest era, the Paul Skeens, the pitch and the domination, ACC, SEC, and then, of course, you got the smaller teams. I'm talking Pac-12, whatever, but they're not the smaller teams, of course, trickling in. You guys talk about blue bloods here. I have the scroller going right here. I'm going to flip the switch here. Matt, do the VOLS defending champs deserve the number one spot at plus 600 right now?
I don't think so. I think it's far and away Texas A&M is probably the best team on paper. And look, we've seen they're to what, 2010, 2011, South Carolina won back-to-back. Tony Vitello won as the number one overall seed for the first time since Miami did it. So you want to talk about breaking trends, Tennessee's not afraid to do them. I think they're in the conversation. The question mark for me is going to be this pitching staff. But I think Texas A&M should be the shortest shot. On paper, they are the best team going into it. They kind of remind me of the LSU team. Ryan Prager's not Paul Skeens, but I mean, their lineup top to bottom is so dangerous. And I think just with Lampkin and Prager, they're going to have probably the best 1-2 punch in the country. But that could change. I mean, we've seen injuries take somebody down. So I think A&M should be the shortest shot.
Nick, I'll give you the balls right off the bat. Preview thoughts on paper. I mean, obviously, we got to play it between the diamond here. What's your initial thoughts on the Vols this year?
Yeah, I agree with Matt. I think right now I don't see Tennessee as the best team. I really do think it's A&M, and then I'm with Q, and I have Virginia probably second. When it comes to Tennessee, I like what this season is going to remind me of is going to be a lot of the 2023 season. If you remember, Tennessee in 2022 had the best team in the sport and possibly one of the best teams they've ever had. And then everybody said, what's going to happen? Because they lost the entire roster, brought in a completely new set of faces, and it took 2 months for Tennessee to kind of get rolling. Like they were 5-9, I think, at one point in the SEC. Excuse me, and then struggled at the beginning of the season before they kind of hit a footing, and then obviously made it to the College World Series. I think this is going to be sort of that kind of season. Their schedule at the beginning does help. Like they don't play extremely difficult schedule at the beginning, but I think there's going to be a big learning curve this year. I mean, they brought in the number 2 player in the portal, number 3 player in the portal, number 11 player in the portal. So it's a great start, but still this year they're going to rely on more sophomores, juniors, and people that have been in the program for a year or two and sitting behind guys that I think it'll take a little bit of time to develop. I'm high on them, but more high on them in the back half of the season than I am probably the beginning. So right now, I agree with Matt. I don't think they should be the shortest odds to win it all.
Matt, Arkansas plus 1,800, the talk of the town last year. It seemed like every week we're talking about what's going on. Oh, you identified it early, I thought. You guys talk about the Friday night lights and the ace, and then who do you got for Saturday and Sunday? And then offense, Matt. Offense. Are we going to have the same problem this year?
I don't think so. The pitching staff is going to be more consistent as far as talent, top to bottom. We don't have Hagen Smith, but there's other guys. We got Zach Ruth, transfer from ECU, Landon Beetleshees. Good luck spelling that one. Ohio State transfer, and then Gabe Gackel, the freshman phenom that just really was lights out in every appearance he had. So that's probably going to be our 3-man rotation on the weekends. But this offense has a lot of pop. Ryder Helfrich. You talked about the Cape Cod League. I think he led the league in home runs when he was playing there. Kendall Diggs is back and not dealing with a shoulder injury. Vahiva Aloy finally figured out how to hit there at the end of the season. I guess the jump from where he was, Sac State, I believe, coming up, it took him a while to get acclimated to the talent of SEC pitchers. We'll see if Brent Iredale, that's a guy to keep an eye on. He's coming in with like a 1,600 OPS. He was at a community college, though, so we'll see if the talent translates. But he's a little Aussie, can absolutely smash the ball. So I think Arkansas has a much better offense. And then their pitching staff, I think, is going to be more consistent for Dave. That was really the problem, is we relied too heavily on Hagen, and there wasn't anybody else. And to the point where Hagen threw one bad pitch, and then Kansas State jumped all over us in that regional, which ultimately put us down bad. So I think Arkansas is going to be much improved. They come in arguably the best pitching staff in the country, which I would say we had that last year too, and we couldn't get out of our own regional. So we'll see. But I like where the Hogs are sitting. That 18-1 number, very good. Where did you see that?
One of my producers got it this morning, so I will find where he got that, and then I will text you.
That's awesome. Circa hung, I think, 12-1 on Arkansas, and I think DraftKings was around 1,000 or 1,100. So 18-1, definitely good number there.
Nick, we talked backstage, and we'll play the devil's advocate here. A good friend, colleague, Thursday night, 5 p.m. here. Ron Mamalevsky, longtime Oregon State alum. He is a little leery of his baseball team this year. You talked about the independent, no Pac-12 here. Give us the thoughts on the Oregon State Beavers.
Yeah, actually, I'm very high on them this year. I think they're definitely a top 10 team. I think they should have – I think what's going to help them being on the West Coast is they're going to probably get that second – from what I've seen, I think they're probably going to be the second host when it comes to regional. I think Oregon's going to win the Big Ten, which is going to get them a host. And I think Oregon State with their schedule, their RPI is going to be super high. So I think they'll get a host unless they just are awful, which I don't see coming. Brought back a lot of talent on offense, which is going to play, especially out there on the West Coast, where like, as much as it still sounds cliche, small ball is still a thing out there. The ballparks are big and everything, but Oregon State takes advantage of it. Their pitching staff is a little bit of an issue. They lost their two. Basically, they had two Friday night guys basically last year, and Aiden May was a huge one loss. So it'll be interesting to kind of piece things together, especially at the beginning. But I'm extremely high on this team. I think they are a shoe-in at least for a super regional. And then once kind of that happens, basically you kind of throw everything out the window and anybody can win it at that point. So I'm very high on them. Love their offense for the most part. Gavin Turley being back. Trent Caraway is one to keep a name on. This guy was going to be possibly the freshman of the year last year. I believe when he got hurt about 3 weeks in, he had already hit for the cycle and he already had like 5 home runs and like 4 triples. And is just a massive third baseman. I think he looks like he's about 6'4", 230 and can move. So he missed 44 or 45 games last year. So it's going to be good for them to have him back in the middle of the lineup. So on the offense, the pitching staff, I kind of trust their coaching staff in general to kind of get that worked out. Like they've come into years previously in the last 3 or 4 years with a question mark in their pitching staff, and it's worked out. And I think this will probably be that same case.
Matt, you see it differently.
I think the pitching staff is ultimately what's going to keep them from Omaha. I think Oregon State's always kind of like a placeholder team there. They always are very good. They're competitive. But at the end of the day, at plus 135 to make the College World Series, I'm just not buying it. I haven't dove into their schedule. Nick, you may be able to give me some insight there. But Smitty did this write-up, and, pitching staff, you got a guy, Nelson Kilo, a 4 ERA. He only pitched 45 innings last year. Eric Segura, 5.23 ERA. There's too much uncertainty around him. Gavin Turley is good. Trent Caraway, I got to see in person before he got injured when he played Arkansas and Arlington. That was a game that Hagen Smith threw like 18 strikeouts. Absolutely beautiful. I just think with the transfer portal, and there's so much parity right now when you're talking about honing it down to 8 teams. I just don't see Oregon State making it.
I have to say this way. Okay, this is college baseball. Matt, you said the word niche. And again, I don't want to say love it or hate it, because I think if actually people would sit down and watch college baseball, they would be enamored, like, holy wow, the sound of the bat, the aluminum bat, of course, the run scorer. Now, this isn't the Friday night softball league where, there are some 20 run outputs here, but the pitching, the Paul Skeens of the world, the Hagen Smith, there's always these names that we're talking about here on January 31st. Then once we get to, February, March, and April, now they start to gain some steam and stuff. So, Nick, I'll start with you. Matt, you're on deck here, no pun intended here. A couple teams to keep an eye on, ones that you think with a couple bounces here and there could be relevant come as the season progresses.
Yeah, I'll start. This is obviously the blue blood type, but they're a little bit further down in the rankings. I'll start with Mississippi State. Now, I know they're ranked 18th to start the year, but I believe that's like 8th in the SEC. So they're kind of like a middle-of-the-road SEC team. But I think this team has an extremely huge upside. They kind of bounced back last year after an awful 23 season. And I think this year, even though they've replaced Sinjay, who everybody remembers as the ambidextrous pitcher, and then also Cal Steven, who was their ace on Friday nights. I think Pico Cone is going to step in and be fine on Fridays. And I think this offense is very dangerous. Hunter Hines, everybody should know. If they don't know, get to know him. He's an extremely powerful bat. Had a kind of a down year last year, which is funny to say because he hit 257, but he also hit 16 home runs. This is a guy who should be hitting 280 plus and 20 plus. And I think he will this year. Bringing in Noah Sullivan from USC Upstate is a huge one. OPS over 1.066. I just trust this team. This is going to be another team that's extremely good defensively. I think their floor is very high. Like, I think they're going to be bad. And I think their ceiling, though, is even higher. So this could be a team where it's kind of like lower half of the top 25 to sort of keep an eye on. And that's kind of what brings my eye, like kind of what you talk about, kind of below the radar type team.
Matt?
I really like UC Santa Barbara's pitching staff led by Tyler Bremner. He's coming in 2.54 ERA through 88 2/3 last year. But can they hit? Nick mentioned earlier with Oregon State, they play small ball on the West Coast. That may be able to be a thing, but when you travel or you get into a super regional against guys that can smash, is their pitching staff good enough? TCU, this is an interesting team to me. I feel like missing the postseason last year, they've got a lot to prove. Kirk Saarloos is a really good coach. Ben Abelt is a really good pitcher. He's going to be in a starter role. He's kind of been their closer. 1.83 ERA last season. But you've got Carson Bowen and Anthony Silva coming back. Both of those guys had down years last year, but were really good the year before. When they made the Omaha run. Those are a couple longer shots, but we talk about it every year. College baseball is a pretty chalky sport. I think 6 of the 8 of the top 25 made it to Omaha last year, and it ended up being Texas A&M, Tennessee in the final, and I think they were the 5th and 6th shortest shots. So you look at chalk that is less chalky. I know a lot of people are high on Georgia. I think Georgia is going to have to replace a lot with Charlie Condon, but their pitching staff is decent. They're mid-tier for an SEC caliber rotation. Colton Smith, Leighton Finley, and then Ole Miss transfer JT Quinn. Colby Branch and Slate Alford are going to be swinging the bat for them, but can they reproduce 17 home runs each last year? Georgia was very scary in their batting order. Pitching staff, you can hit on them. I think there's so many question marks too in the ACC. I know Nick is not very high on Florida State. I think Jamie Arnold's the best pitcher in the country, but much like Arkansas last year with Hagan, then what? They still lost a lot on offense. James Tibbs isn't there anymore. Fun fact for you, in the last 10 years, the ACC preseason favorite has only won one time, Louisville in 2019. Florida State's plus 400. Virginia at plus 500 to me is criminal. I think Virginia should far and away be the preseason odds-on favorite to win the ACC, but considering they're number 2 in the country. And then you've got a team like North Carolina, who, if their pitching staff can stay healthy, Jason DeCaro, Folger Boaz, Aiden Haw, these guys are just, they are solid. 3, 5, and a 4 ERA going into the season. Scott Forbes is no stranger to Omaha. Got back there last year after losing Jake Knapp. Didn't he get injured
before the season started?
Even started. Yeah. So this team figures out ways to get there. Now there's no Vance Honeycutt. Luke Stevenson's back though, and Jackson Vanderbrake had a pretty bad season last year, but I think he was injured. So we'll see if he can bounce back strong. I think the ACC they may be ahead of the SEC and talent top to bottom here. This is going to be really fun to see how it shakes out.
We're going to come back next Friday, same time, same bat station, as we're 1 week closer to opening weekend on Valentine's Day weekend. I want to ask you guys both the closing question here. Again, we've had the scroller going the whole time with the World Series odds. It's like the NCAA March Madness. You got all your futures in one hand, but only one team can hold up the trophy. One team can cut down the nets, or one team can go to Nebraska and win the whole thing.
And Jeff, you'd mentioned earlier that people that don't watch college baseball or haven't really gotten into it, if you like March Madness, there is no excuse for you to not watch the regionals when they've got ESPN Squeeze play up there and it's like NFL Red Zone giving you all the highlights. There is nothing more exhilarating, unless you just hate baseball and you think it's boring. You would love it. Any sports fan that watches it has got to look at it and be like, wow, why did I not watch this all season long?
And it's funny because, especially on social media, Veasan does a great job. Matt Yeomans, I'm drawing a blank there on your wingman over there. Why Tim Murray?
Wes Reynolds.
Jesus, Wes Reynolds, Tim Murray. It's almost like a crescendo effect as we're getting, through conference play, through the regionals, the super regionals, Omaha, and everyone's like, "Where has this been all my life?" And so we're here to tell you guys it's here, and we're kind of setting you up on a tee here to get you jump started early. Where I'm going to go with the final thoughts here for both of you is, other than grabbing some early futures, is it to win the conference? Regionals, I mean, I think we're a little early to the party just to get to Omaha. Nick, how do you put together your portfolio from the start and as the season progresses?
So I'm a little different than a lot of people when it comes to college baseball futures. So I'm glad you asked this. I actually don't, or very rarely. Last year I did for fun, put in Tennessee to win a national championship at plus. I think I got them at like plus 1,800, which was just because it was a ridiculous number. But I don't do futures. College baseball is so, like I said, it's a niche, and there's so like little information. It's still kind of hard to find outside of, because there's no force on coaches to put out any information about even starting pitch. It's a huge deal. They got a little bit better last year, where starting pitching is sometimes we don't find out until an hour before the game who's starting. And when you're betting, one of the biggest handicaps in betting a college baseball game is who's starting the game on the mound. So a lot of that's kind of difficult. So what I like to do with kind of my portfolio is build it up. I like to hit it everything right before conference season starts. So I usually like to watch a month of baseball, see everybody in the non-conference, and kind of see who I see is playing up to potential, who still probably has the best odds because I think they're playing worse than they probably should. And then you can kind of dig deeper into their conference schedules. And I like to go from there. That's kind of where I hit some big ones. Last year was to win the conference after seeing a month, and to make the College World Series after seeing a month of baseball. So I'm a little different than a lot of people, or than some people in our industry. So I'm just not a huge fan of college baseball futures preseason. So I like to do it about a month in, right before conference season starts.
Matt?
I like to make investments in the futures market. Because I think there's so much value in getting an early number, especially if you like more of a shorter shot, because you see these odds start getting cut in half. We saw it with Texas A&M last year. They were winning, it seemed like every single game. Their odds just kept getting slashed. But also to the Nick theory here, you don't have to bet these early because the lines are so slow to move at times. You can watch your favorite team 2 or 3 weekends and still pretty much get them at the same number they were preseason. But once they start moving, I mean, $100 bet will make a plus 1,500 drop to a plus 1,000. It's absolutely crazy. But I think there are some opportunities out there depending on what number you can get. I like Arkansas 18-1. Virginia, I think, is hovering around 15-1 at some places. I got them 23-1. These numbers just start moving though, especially when D1 put out their rankings. I feel like Virginia immediately got slashed. North Carolina 25-1. I'm not sure what their current odds are where you can find them. That was NC State. I was about to say, perfect timing. The scrolls coming across. Then another market, we don't have access to it, but I would almost drive to Louisiana border, as much as I hate Louisiana, to bet it. The Golden Spikes, I think Ethan Petrie plus 1,300 or 13-1, and then Nolan Schubert at Oklahoma State 20-1. These are two kind of mid-tier teams which South Carolina is going to be interesting with Paul Maneri coming back to coaching at 90 years old. We'll see how that works. Probably as well as Bill Belichick being the head coach of North Carolina. Schubert, though, he had 23 home runs last year, almost a 1,600 OPS. I mean, this guy's going to be able to smash. We know Holiday is a good coach. They're probably going to figure out a way to get back in the dance. And as we saw with Condon winning it last year, you don't really have to play for the best team. You don't really have to have the pitching staff behind you. Just if you can hit the ball, it's generally pitchers can win it. They have won it. But generally it's just whoever is the hottest bat at the time. So those are two guys that I would keep an eye on: Ethan Petrie and Nolan Schubert, Oklahoma State, 20-1.
Well, we're going to come back next Friday, same time. We'll talk some more. We'll go do some more previews as we're one weekend away, or I should say one step closer. Valentine's Day weekend, the season starts. It's already here. But as we always wrap this up, Nick, where can they find all your work?
Yeah, in Hathcote 413 on X is the easiest spot, or where I put most of my college baseball info at. Sometimes on Instagram, it's just in Hathcote. Best place is going to be, like, we're still kind of figuring out what we're going to do picks wise. So I don't want to put that out there yet. Like as a group, like where you're going to be able to find them the easiest. But yeah, in Hathcote 413 on X, probably the easiest. And then obviously our website is a great resource that I'm sure Matt will hit on too.
Matt?
Yeah, collegebaseballinsiders.com. Nick Dimmitt over there just doing a fantastic job. We're incorporating even more information this year, from starting pitching to the live odds, score tracker, everything like that. So go check that out, collegebaseballinsiders.com. And then follow us at NCAA Insiders or me at Grissom on X.
Gentlemen, have a great weekend. Stay warm, stay dry, Nick. We'll be back this next week, same time, for some more previews, some more futures. Maybe, just maybe, we'll have Quentin back. If not, it'll be 3 men in a box. How's that sound?
Beautiful.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Go follow these gentlemen, Nick Hathcote, Matt Grissom, and of course, Quentin Mills, the best in the business. The product is second to none. Download the preview guide. Guys, don't be shy. Any questions, comments, concerns, follow them all. Ask them a question, and I guarantee you this, they do answer. It's amazing, but they do. So it's almost baseball season. Stock up on those sunflower seeds, will you? Quick commercial break, and we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned.
Jared, hey, we're gonna need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
That's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Great way to start the week, to end the week, I should say. 10:15, I was on with Andrew McGinnis at McGinnis Picks on his YouTube channel, talking NHL, like, where is the scoring gone? And we're trying to figure this out, trying to crack Da Vinci's Code, as they're about 8 days away from the start of the Four Nations tournament, a little break in the NHL right after the Super Bowl there. And then, of course, the NCAA Insiders, 3 men in the box today. Nick and Matt talking college baseball already. Go download their preview guide. I promise you, you won't be disappointed there. Our third year with them, as we're really trying to bring, or they're trying to bring, the NCAA baseball to light. Like, it will never be March Madness, as Matt said as we were wrapping this up, but it is so fun. It's so exciting. And I'm telling you, if you're a baseball fan like I am, I live within 15 minutes of 3 Cape League fields. So that's where I live in the summer when I'm not at Fenway Park. And this is just like the warm up for me. And I enjoy watching the season and then getting to these Cape League games. Like, oh yeah, I remember him. I remember him. I remember him. So good stuff there. For the afternoon, had a show scheduled at 1:30 with Travis Geiger at WagerWire, and around 4 o'clock for the closing bell. Both those shows up in the air, as I am dealing with some family issues that I have to go take care of right now. So some positive prayer I could really, really use that. Life is short, guys. You just don't know. I've had a rough start family wise already here. I lost my stepbrother 3 weeks ago, and yeah, it's going to be a tough, tough weekend here. So, everyone, keep your chin up, stay positive. Some positive prayer and thoughts could be used here. Um, the weekend's here. Just behave yourself. Stay in your lanes. Be grateful. A lot of people didn't get that wake up call, and I always talk about 24 hours, and it's a gift. That's why they call it the present. And what are you going to do in those 24 hours? So, for myself, Jeff Dawson at DC Sports Invest, for everyone here, shout out to Mr. Smooth, Sean Alvarez, Richard Populus, everyone watching the show. Love you guys to death. Without you, there'd be no this. So behave yourselves and stay tuned.